Hi, it's Sylvester, and I wanted to pat myself on the back a little bit because I have come a long way. Now, you may know that I have anger issues. It is something I struggle with, it is something that I am actively working on. But I have really, really improved. My anger has gotten way better than it used to be. Now, I've pretty much always had anger issues my entire life, but they got really bad after 2013 because something traumatic happened to me and I developed PTSD and I just became a very, very angry person. I was pretty much just angry all the time, and it didn't take much to trigger an outburst of anger from me. So something happened yesterday that upset me, but the way I reacted to it is so different from how I would have reacted to it years ago. You see, I was out walking and I was at a crosswalk and I was crossing the street, and there was a car at the crosswalk waiting for me to cross so that it could go, and somebody in the back seat of that car rolled down their window and yelled, "You're fat," at me. And I looked at this person and they had this smug smile on their face, like they looked so amused, like it brought them so much joy to call me fat. And this upset me. First of all, it was shocking. You don't expect to be yelled at when you're just walking down the street. But also, it was upsetting because that's just kind of a mean thing to say. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with being fat, but obviously this person meant it as an insult. They were trying to hurt my feelings, and my feelings were in fact hurt. But instead of getting angry and instead of reacting the way I would have reacted in the past, I remained calm and I just looked at them and said, "I know," and I just kept walking. And I'm very proud of myself because if this had happened in 2023 or any time before that, I probably would have started screaming at this person. I probably would have called them names. I probably would have started a whole thing, and I would have had this massive angry response. But again, I've come a long way. My anger has gotten a lot better than it used to be. I remained completely calm, and I just said, "I know," and I kept walking, and I'm very, very proud of myself. Now, that's not to say that it didn't anger me. I am angry with this person because that's just a really mean thing for this person to have done, and I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve to be called fat while just walking down the street, minding my own business. You know what I mean? So I am angry, but I'm not angry. Again, if this had happened a few years ago, I would have absolutely exploded. I would have gone home and immediately made an angry YouTube video about it. And I guess I am making a YouTube video about it, but I'm not super angry in this video. In the past, I would have made a video just being like, "Fuck that person." Oh my God, you know what I mean? Just so angry. And instead, I'm a little angry, but more than anything else, my feelings are just kind of hurt, which is kind of stupid, I realize, because after that, I was continuing on my walk and just feeling bad for myself because it's I just got insulted. Somebody just came after me, you know what I mean? And I felt really bad about myself, and I was really sad. And then I kind of put it into perspective, and I'm just here I am feeling sorry for myself because somebody called me fat, where there's people in the world who are starving. There are people living in war-torn countries. You know what I mean? Being called fat by a stranger, not the worst thing that could ever happen to a person. You know what I mean? And so then I was why am I sitting here just building this up in my head and making it something bigger than it actually was? This is just, some person called me fat. It's really not that big of a deal. But my feelings were hurt. My feelings were definitely hurt for a while there, and I was kind of sad for a while there. But I'm able to look back on it now and kind of laugh about it because it is kind of an absurd thing for a stranger to just yell, "You're fat," at me. Did they think that I didn't know that I was fat? I mean, it's objectively true. I am fat, so can I even really be mad at them You know what I mean? And again, being fat isn't inherently a bad thing, and it doesn't mean anything negative about me, the fact that I'm fat. And so, even though this person meant it as an insult, you know what I mean? Like, it's not really that insulting. There are worse things that I could have been called. There are worse things that this person could have said. And I imagine like what it must be like to be somebody who is like a visible minority, or somebody who is, because I have privilege. I have white privilege. I have male privilege. I have lots of privilege, and so like I imagine if I were a person who was not white walking down the street, somebody might yell a slur at me from their car. And that would be a lot worse than somebody just calling me fat. You know what I mean? So like, and I imagine people who aren't white do deal with that. In fact, I know that people who aren't white deal with that sort of thing. And so, again, checking my privilege, realizing that being called fat by a stranger is not the worst thing that could happen to me, and looking back on it and realizing that it is kind of funny, you know what I mean? And it's really not that big of a deal. So, anyways, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Stay frosty. Bye.